Yo guys, how you all doing? Hope you are all doing well. Been a little while since I've been here on the channel. I'm actually in Thailand at the moment traveling, and I brought with me the new 16-inch baseline MacBook Pro, and I've been using this as my main video editing computer whilst I've been here in Thailand for just under a month. I want to talk about my experiences with this machine, basically being used as my workhorse computer. All of the work that I've been doing as a professional video editor, I've been working on projects whilst I've been here in Thailand, and this has been the only computer that I've had with me. I know there is a whole bunch of videos out talking about the speed. We will of course touch on that, but I do want to talk about this travel specifically. This is the only machine I've taken on this trip, and how does it actually stack up? How useful has it been? The first thing I do want to touch on is the weight. This computer is heavy. It comes in at 2.1 kilograms for the 16-inch version, and it is pretty big. For context, this is my new camera bag. It is a bag here from Manfrotto. I forget the actual model name, but I will try my best to find and link it down below in the description. But here is the computer, and as you can see, the size is pretty big. The bag does have a specific 16-inch MacBook slot or laptop slot. When I carry this bag with the laptop and my camera gear, this is extremely heavy. As I've found out, in a country like Thailand, it's really hot, and I've really not wanted to carry this around, let alone doing some sort of like full day shoot. I think this would be better in a normal, cooler climate. All right, so another day, another hotel room. This one is actually a really nice one. Pretty lucky to be staying here. Let me just set my exposure right down. We should be able to see some of the background here. But the thing with this computer, like the thing with this new MacBook Pro 16-inch, I think really this comes down to you. If you need that extra power and that extra display size, which I personally do because I video edit, it's actually really important for me, and the size and the weight trade-off makes it worth it. Another thing that I actually didn't mention is that backpack that you saw at the start of the video, I actually had to buy that additionally. It was an extra purchase because my original camera backpack had a laptop sleeve, and this computer was simply too big for it. It was built for a 13, and I think the 14-inch laptop or 14-inch MacBook Pro definitely would have fit in there, but that's just something to consider. Okay, so that's the size and the weight ticked off. I'm back with the mic with the sock over it, and I just talked about how the performance, if it's worth it for the size and the weight of this computer. So of course we do need to talk about the performance of the machine. I don't want this to be like crazy technical though, so I'm not going to be running any like super in-depth comparisons or tests. But the model of laptop that I got is the 16-inch baseline MacBook Pro. I've already talked about that, but it has 16 gigs of RAM. It has a 512 gigabyte SSD. I simply just work off external drives with pretty much all of my work. I use 1 to 2 terabyte fast flash drives, and then I use slightly more permanent hard drive storage on these machines. And all of the footage that I shoot is in H.265, and pretty much everything that I throw at this 16-inch MacBook, it can handle, and handle really well. It's an extremely fast machine. Sometimes when I'm working on more complex edits, it does slow down just a little bit if I'm doing things like noise reduction in shots. Some of that you might have noticed on this vlog, and I do sometimes have to like render stuff out, render individual clips out just to get things moving nice and quickly, but overall I have literally zero complaints about the performance of this machine. Here's a few extra things that make this computer basically just a dream to travel with. First of all is the I/O connection, the ports, the SD card slot coming back like is one of the biggest things for me. I shoot on SD on both the C70 and the R6, so obviously it's a massive deal to have that slot back. Obviously they took it away, so it's not like a revolutionary feature, but thank you Apple for listening to that. Creators all around the world are thanking you for it. Look at all of the ports on this machine. We have HDMI, full-size HDMI, 1, 2, 3 Thunderbolt ports, a new MagSafe port. So all of the I/O is really good on this machine. I no longer have to like bring a ton of adapters with me. I just work off these SSD storage drives which go straight into this Thunderbolt port. The battery is good, just not incredible. It's really good for everything, pretty much everything else apart from video editing, photo editing. So anything a little bit more intensive, I get probably 3 to 4 hours of video editing time on a single charge, but anything else I actually really struggle to run this computer down. So if I'm watching videos on it or anything like that, it will last like for ages. But if I'm actually editing a project, one, I normally just keep stuff plugged in, but if I am video editing a project, yeah, it might die in maybe 3 to 4 hours. The keyboard is amazing, just a really nice to have. Like, they've gone through so many keyboard iterations. This one is really, really good. Feels pretty much like I'm at home on an actual desktop computer.
A few moments later.
So, sorry guys about all of the changing in this video, but I just wanted to sort of smash it out, get it done before I head home in the airport. Now ready to go back to the UK. So I want to kind of wrap up my thoughts about this computer. I think overall it's an amazing machine. It's super useful to be really versatile. I can have it in my laptop bag, I can do some work at the airport, I can plug it in at home and basically have this like extremely powerful computer plugged in, running on a desktop. And really for the first time when using an actual laptop, I don't feel limited by its size because of that 16-inch screen size. You do pay for it, they're pretty expensive, but overall I really don't regret buying this MacBook. I do feel like there's a bit of a narrative with Apple products where they come out with a product and everyone just says how amazing it is and doesn't really criticize it. One of the issues that I've had personally with this MacBook Pro is that since the Monterey update, or at least it came with Monterey, but this issue is a Monterey issue, I plug in some external hard drives and it just does not recognize them. This is like an issue which lots of people have talked about, but it's now been like months since Monterey has been beta tested and this still hasn't been fixed. So it's a pretty serious issue. I'm really annoyed about it, as you can probably tell. Lots of other people still having issues. So yeah, you know, not everything from Apple is always perfect. But yeah, rant over. The computer is amazing. I do recommend buying one, maybe even the 14-inch version if you're a bit worried about the size, because like I said, it is a heavy computer. Hopefully this has been helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.